Good morning, everybody. My name is Jen, the Caffeinated Crafter. Today is Sunday, September the 28th, 2025. And here's Gracie. Say hello, Gracie. We gonna be a good girl today? Maybe. Welcome to my Flosstube channel. Okay, we're getting hair everywhere. This is a channel about all the cross stitch and the cats. Welcome if you're new. If you're returning, welcome back. We got a lot to discuss today. We're gonna do a new round of Monopoly because I got all of my Monopoly stitching done. Doing a new week of Bake Off. I do have some makeup stitching to do for a few things. So let's go ahead. I had a lot going on this week. I had the boys, so my kid had football practice every day, and I went to his game on Friday, and so that took up a lot of my Friday night, and then I had to work yesterday in the ER, so that took up most of my day on Saturday. So I couldn't get everything. If I didn't work on Saturday, I would have been able to get everything done. But such is life. It's okay though. It's okay. We're gonna get through it. Yeah. So I do have something in the works regarding work, but I don't want to announce it until everything goes through. So let's go ahead and get into the stitching because that is what everybody's here for, right? All right, here is my board of everything I needed to work on this week. So I did not get to one of my pieces for gridiron grind. So that's going to be some makeup stitching. I didn't get to all of my temperature pieces, so I got to make that up. I did get all of Monopoly and Bake Off. Technically, I worked on all of the weekly pieces, but I did not get to everything I needed to. I didn't get to the goal of Honeymoon Sunset yet for the end of the month, but today's only the 28th. I still have 3 more days, which I'll probably end up getting that goal done today, just after the video. So, I am completely caught back up on the Whip Into Shape Challenge, so that's great. And got my goal completed for winter cookie party, so that's gonna be, yeah. All right, that's, what was I trying to say? I forgot. That's gonna be able to be taken off the list, and we're gonna replace it with something else. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the stitching, shall we? What is this? Okay, so let's go ahead and do gridiron grind. I just reached over to pull something up off whatever's on the top. So gridiron grind. This challenge was started by Kim Hollenbach. She is Spartan Stitcher on Instagram. If you're over on there, she does have a YouTube channel here, and she is an admin for Full Coverage Fanatics, where there is an event going on there for this. So gridiron grind combines football and cross stitch. As I said before, I don't do football, but I do FOMO. I wanted to participate even though I don't watch football. I don't even watch the games. I just Google the scores. I don't watch the games. I just do streaming services. I don't have cable or anything. So, and I'm not going to go somewhere just to watch a football game when I can Google the scores, when I can Google the information I need to know. So I have 2 pieces from Heaven and Earth Designs. One is assigned to the home team. One is assigned to the away team. So my home team for Gridiron Grind is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because that is my home team. That one is the one that I have to do the makeup stitching for. So I'll show you that later on in plans. The one that I assigned to the away team, just whatever team the Bucks are playing, this piece gets worked on. It gets 10 stitches for both of them get 10 stitches for every point. The winning team gets an extra 100 stitches. If the final score is 10 or greater point difference, they get an additional 100 stitches. So last week, the Bucks played the Jets and they won 29-27. So for the Jets piece, I worked, on afternoon tea party. This is a piece that my younger son picked out for himself. Not to do, just for me to do for him. The other piece is one for my older son. But this is afternoon tea, designed by Randall Spangler, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. That gold border is part of the piece, so that is getting worked on. And it is 381 by 487. It has 89 colors. So for Gridiron Grind, I needed to do 270 stitches, but I was doing a game on Facebook where I needed even hundreds, so I did go a little bit over. I went to 300, and I'm doing this 1/1 full cross on a 32 count easy count Lugana, and this is where I got to. So I'm currently sitting, oh my God, really? I'm currently sitting at 999 stitches completed. Out of 184,805, I am at 0.54%. So that is where that one is. Okay. Bathy Scaife is, which I'll show you later. That is the one for the Bucks, whatever points the Bucks get. That one I need to make up and do 390 because it was the 290 for the points plus 100 for winning, and they're playing again today. So I am gonna, hopefully we'll have a lot of stitching done on Bathy Scaife next week. Okay, let's do hang on one second. Where is it? Where's the other one? Okay, let's do Bake Off. So, I don't announce Bake Off stitching. If you're unfamiliar, Great British Bake Off is a show that's filmed in the UK. So is it Channel 4? I don't know what it plays on over in the UK, but here in the US, it's on Netflix. It might be Netflix over there too. I have no clue. I don't know. I just know in the US, it's here on Netflix. And Jessie Marie over at Jessie Marie Does Stuff created a game for it last year because there are set events that occur every week on the show. So it's 12 bakers. Each week, one baker gets eliminated. They have a signature where they're given an assignment and they create something based off the assignment. Then they have a technical bake where they are doing a blind bake where they're given a dish and the ingredients and very basic instructions. They create it and it's judged blind by Paul Hollywood and Prue Leith. And then they're ranked worst to best. And then there's the showstopper where they're given another assignment and it's this great big huge thing that they have to create. And over those 3 events, they go week to week. They do Star Baker where they declare a winner for that week, and then one person gets eliminated. And it's typically, I think there was maybe once or twice in the past where they had to kind of go off of their overall progress because there were some that were just so close that they couldn't figure out who to eliminate. But for the most part, they only base their judgment on that current week. So even if you're a great baker and you had a really shitty baking weekend that week, you're gone. So for Bake Off, and then a big thing to get is a handshake from Paul Hollywood because you just did such a good job. You impressed him so much either with the taste and the quality of the bake or something just so unusual that he was just super impressed with it. He'll give them a handshake for it. So if somebody gets a handshake, their piece, I have a whip assigned to each baker. And hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So Hollywood handshake is a thing, and then first and last in the technical bake, that one in the middle, that's a thing, and then Star Baker and Eliminated Baker is a thing as well. So Jessie Marie created a game where she assigns stitch counts. She has a whole video explaining the entire thing, and I did it last year, and I wanted to do it again this year for the current season. I had to pare the stitch counts down though because of all my current plans. So what I did was I have a whip assigned to each baker. If they get a Hollywood handshake, their whip gets 100 stitches. If they get first or last in technical, their whips get 100 stitches. Star Baker will get 200 and the Eliminated Baker will get 300 because their whip will no longer be in the game. So they get more stitches. Okay. If that was confusing, I apologize. So I'm not announcing who got what, like what baker got Star Baker, what baker got eliminated, because it is a brand new season and there are people who are currently watching. I don't want to spoil it for them. I also have not told you what whip is assigned to what baker because you're going to figure it out. There are going to be some spoilers in the fact that I have to sometimes be like, I think like this past week, was it? This past week, I did have to do some spoilers in the fact that I had to say the person who got last in technical was the one eliminated, and the one who got first in technical was Star Baker. So it's like if you're watching that week and you see who got last in technical, you already know who got eliminated. So there are some spoilers, but I don't want to tell you who got what. Okay, all that being said, I was doing week 3. I did have to do some makeup stitching for week 2. I wasn't able to get to one of the things. I think it was the person who got first in technical in week 2. I didn't get to their piece. So I did get to it this week. So this is from week 2, Mother Nature Spring. This is out of the Just Cross Stitch magazine from 2023. I feel like that was super jumbled. Sorry. So for week 2, makeup stitching, person who got first in technical, I had to do 100 stitches, and that is what I did. I'm doing this with the Call for DMC 2/2 full cross on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco. And there's my 100 stitches. And you see I did it mostly like, I did it like up here in the hair and started in on that second bird. So there's my 100. So week 2 finally got completed. And then the one that I was supposed to, the week that I'm supposed to work, that I was supposed to work on this past week is week 3. So like I said, the person who got last in technical ended up getting eliminated. So between the 100 for last and then elimination of 300, their piece needed 400 stitches, and their piece is Holiday Quaker. That is by Leela Studio. That's this piece right here. And I'm doing this with Call for threads. I think they're all Gentle Arts. Yeah. 2/2 full cross on a 32 count Lugana in the color Something Blue by Mystic Fabrics. I love her fabrics. They're so pretty. Okay, I have this folded in half, so don't panic when you see that the edge of the fabric is right there. So I have this folded, but here are my 400 stitches. So I got this motif completed, and then I came over here and got to working on this one. It's so pretty. So this one is done for Bake Off. This is the last time you're gonna, not the last time you're gonna see it, but the last time you're gonna see it for Bake Off. All right. And then the one who got first in technical ended up getting Star Baker. And their piece, so between those two, that is 100 for technical and 200 for Star Baker, so that's 300 total. And that piece is Sweet Bee by Stitch Rovia. I am doing this with the called for DMC 2/2 full cross on a 28 count fabric. I do not know the color. I thought it was lamb's wool. But I feel like this shows darker than a lot of other Flosstubers that show lamb's wool. So I don't know what color this is. I have no clue. Do not know. So we're gonna just start calling it mystery fabric. But I just know it's a 28 count fabric. That's all I know. And here is the 300 that I did. I did it all in this block over here. That is going to end up saying honey once it's all filled in and backstitched. I do know this is some kind of like, I think it's like some kind of Jobelin fabric. I know that it holds wrinkles really, really well. I know that much. Okay, so that was my bake-off stitching. Let's do, okay, let's do Monopoly. So to complete Monopoly, I needed to do 300 stitches on Mother Nature Christmas, and that is also out of Just Cross Stitch Magazine 2023. And that is what she's going to look like when she's done. I'm doing her with the call for DMC 2/2 full cross on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco. And this is where I got to with her. So I got her arm completely done, her hand and everything. I did all the back stitching and the French knots here. Got this all filled in right here. So yeah, we're moving along. Super happy with how she's turning out. She's so pretty. Okay. And then another whip that I needed for Monopoly was a Halloween calendar. Here it is. I do have this in Pattern Keeper, so bear with me just a minute. This is by Tiny Modernist, right? Yeah. Halloween calendar by Tiny Modernist. This piece needed 200. Actually, I think this ended up getting 220 total because I didn't count the back stitching. I mean, I did, but it was 14 stitches of back stitch, and and then I wanted to just finish off the block. So you'll see in a second. Okay, so I'm stitching this with the called for DMC 2/2 full cross on a 28 count Lugana in the color Dusk by Live and Die LA. That color is actually pretty true to color. It's a really pretty mottled purple. And that is where I got to with it. Like I said, I ended up doing 220 something stitches on it. It gets gray as it gets closer to the thing, but it's really, really purple. But I did all the back stitching in the eyeball right here. That was like the 14 stitches of back stitch. And then I went ahead and got her finished off. Like by the time I got to the 200, I was like, all I had left was this line down here. And I had like that much left or something like that. And I was like, you know what, forget it. I had 7 stitches left. That's what it was. I was like, you know what, forget it. Let me go ahead and just do the whole block. So I am now sitting at 2,007 stitches completed out of 16,842. I am at 11.92%. What block I'm going to go to next, I have no clue. I don't have to worry about that right now. So, I have no clue. All right. And then the final piece for Monopoly that I had to do is Reaching Skyward. This is the stitch along from Modern Folk Embroidery 2023. I had to think about what year it was. Hang on, I got this one in Pattern Keeper too, so let me just find it. Here it is. So this is my mock-up. This is not the called for colors. I picked these colors, so this is what it's gonna look like when it's done. And I needed 400 stitches for this. I'm doing this 2/2 full cross. I'll tell you the threads in a minute. On a 20 count Ada in the color Polar Blue. This was a fabric of the month from Mystic Fabrics from November of 2022. Very pretty. Let me show you the fabric first. Look how pretty that is, huh? Oh, I love that fabric so much. Okay. Let me just fold this so it's a little bit more manageable. All right, so this needed 400 stitches, and that is where I got to. There's nothing, you can see everything, like there's nothing over here where it's not folded, or where it's folded. So I got 400 stitches done. I am now as you can see, I got this deer done, started bringing this around, and then just to finish off a little bit left, I came over here and started doing that. So I'm now sitting at 2,600 stitches completed out of 47,789. I am at 5.44%. It's looking really good. I'm happy with it. Oh, my colors. Sorry. So the blue is DMC 336 and the pink is DMC 917. I'm happy with how that's looking. Okay. All right, give me 1 second. Okay. Let's go over the Monopoly or no, we already did Monopoly. Let's go over the temperature stitching that I was able to get to. So, first one up is going to be somewhere. Here it is. I didn't get to all of it. So we're going to try to make it up next week. Try. So first one up is Magnificent Wizard. This is, so all of my temperature stitching, real quick. I have the forecasted temperature, high temperatures listed out for the week. I have a whip assigned to the number one. I have 5 whips total. They're assigned to 2 numbers each. I take the final digit, the last digit of the temperature. So if it's forecasted to be 89 degrees, I take the whip assigned to number 9. I do 100 stitches. So, but I have whips assigned to 2 numbers. So one whip I have assigned to the numbers 0 and 5. Another one, this one is assigned to the whips numbers 1 and 6. So Magnificent Wizard. Dimensions Gold Collection, and all of my whips for temperature stitching are whips to shame, so they're over 10 years old. This is designed by Dawn Mates. So the temperatures assigned to, or the temperatures called for Magnificent Wizard was a total of 200 stitches. I was hoping to maybe get 300 because there is 100 stitches that I was not able to get to from the previous week. So we're just going to, I'm going to see, maybe, I'll explain why in a minute. Normally I'm like, forget it, but we're going to see one more week if I can get that 100 in. If not, we're just going to call it a loss. Okay, so I needed 200 stitches for this, and this is where I got to with it. So I worked more in the head. I'm hoping to eventually, I frogged more. Okay, I'll talk about this in a minute, but I worked more in the head. I got more of this, of the sky done. So, for those who don't know, this body is not correct. And I realized it. I had the body and the head done, and I realized it as I was filling this in, that the head was not positioned properly. So, I've been frogging. I frogged the entire head out, redid it, and I've been frogging the body down as I've been bringing this down, because now it's not going to line up. I just don't know at what point it's not going to line up. So I'm doing it bit by bit. But the head is going to look, it looks better now that I've filled more of it in, but it's going to look a lot better once it's backstitched. It looks very strange right now. But this got 200. It was supposed to get an additional 100 to make up for not getting it the week before. So we'll see one more week. The reason why I want to do that is because when I was mathing, it's getting close to the goal. It's getting closer to the goal of the 2,000 stitches, to where it gets switched out with something else. So that's why I want to see if I can get that makeup done. So there's that. And then the only other whip of shame I was able to, or temperature whip of shame I was able to get to, is Frederick. This is designed by Charles Wysocki. My kit is from Creative Accents. This is still available on Dimensions. So I needed 200 stitches for Frederick, but he was another one I wasn't able to get to the week prior, so I was hoping to get an additional 100 on him for a total of 300, which that I did do. So here is where I got to. So this book, it's hard to read it, but it says garbage can guide, which I looked at the cover photo, and it's hard to read on the cover photo too. So it's not, because I was like, is it me? No, it's just the way it is. And then this book is catalog of hairballs. So this book, the title is backstitched, and the book itself is backstitched, except for this line here, because this book needs to be stitched in. So once this book is stitched in, then I'll bring the backstitch line down to divide those two. That's everything I've done on him so far. It looks really good. I like it. I really like it a lot. So I was able to get 300 on him. And that's all the temperature. So Aurora Cabin and In Her Garden, I wasn't able to get to. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to try to... We'll go over it in plans. I'm going to try to make it up. I'm not sure if I'll be able to. Okay, let's move on to the weekly stitching. Okay, so alphabet. I am kind of pulling from Jade the 310 Stitcher, where she is doing like a piece from each letter of the alphabet, and she's doing 1,000 stitches. I'm doing that as well, but I'm only doing 500. And so my piece, I'm up to the letter J. I'm just working this in as I can. So I'm up to the letter J, and I was finally able to get that done. My J is James Dean. This is by Stitching Jules Design on Etsy. And that is what he's going to look like when he's done. I had previously done 150, so I just needed 350 to get my goal done. And I'm doing this monochromatic, so I'm doing it in 310. on an 18 count Ada. No clue what the color is. I don't know if it's Wedgwood or Hazelwood. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I just thought it was like a brown mottled fabric, and I thought that was really neat looking because this guy is like an actor from like the 50s who died in a car accident when he was in his 20s. And so, you know, so it's like a super, super old, like, you know, person. I mean, he'd be dead by now, but I was kind of going for that old look, you know what I mean? So anyway, I needed 350 stitches left to get my goal done of 500. And that is where I am. I worked up here in the hair, but that is what he's looking like so far. So not gonna lie, I know some people are probably like, why? I didn't pick this pattern. I got this for free from Stitching Jules way back in the day. She was having some smaller Flosstubers work on her stuff to kind of get her name out there. And she also gave us a shout out when we, you know, so we got a free pattern and a shout out, and she got someone to work on her stuff and give her a shout out. So I told her, I said, you pick a pattern you want me to do. And she wanted me to do this one. So that's what I'm doing. But I'm doing it 2 strands full cross on an 18 count Ada. And I now have a total of 5,392 stitches completed. Out of 12,954 stitches, I am at 41.62%. It's looking good. She does a really good job with her pieces like this. I have another, I actually have 3 total. I have this one, I have Library, and I have Sea Turtle. Okay, so there's that one. Next up, let's do my open goal. Okay, so this piece is Winter Cookie Party. Where is it? This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Artworks by Amy Stewart. I have this in max colors. It's 700 by 501. It has 240 colors. And that is what it's going to look like when it's done. Again, this is Winter Cookie Party. I am in the upper left-hand corner. Up here. Okay, so I had a goal at the beginning of the year to get this to 1%, and then I pulled this into my bake-off stitching, and then I got to work on it, I think, 1 week, and that baker got eliminated. But when I did my stitching, I realized that to complete my goal of 1%, I only needed to do 650 something stitches. So I was like, oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and just pull this into, like, I had this plan of just having one piece that had a goal to get done, and I'll just keep working on it until the goal is done, instead of like rotating through a bunch of different ones. It makes no sense now, the way I just said that. Let me try to explain this again one more time before I show this. I have a lot of open goals, and I'm trying to get them done. So I'm picking one whip from those open goals, and I'm working on it in conjunction with all my other stuff. But that's like, I'm like keeping it out until that goal gets done. So that was this piece. I got my goal done. So here we go. I'm doing this 1/1 full cross on a 32 count easy count Lugana, and I did a total of 656 stitches. I am now sitting at 3,504 stitches completed out of 350,700, and I am at 1.00%. So this green here is some of the holly that's like over here. So that was exciting to actually hit some color besides browns. And this here is the reindeer cookie. I looked, I was like, why is this like bright orange and these were like kind of darker browns? That's because this is the reindeer cookie that's sitting on top of the other ones. So that's exciting. The sad thing is that you're not going to see it the rest of the year. We're done for the year for this piece. That makes me super sad. But so we'll look at it just a little bit longer. But I'm trying to think. I think I have plans to get, yes, this will be getting worked on next year. I'm trying to, because we're at the end of September and I told you that I would do a plans video in October, but I'm going to do it the last week of October when I'm off of work. Because I take a week, the week of my birthday, I take the entire week off of work. Because they pissed me off one year. And I said, screw it, I'm not working the entire week of my birthday anymore. I'll do my plans video that week. But I think I'm getting them finalized. Might be some last minute stuff that gets added on, but for like my big stuff, like that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so next up is going to be Whip into Shape. This is a challenge from Andrew the Runner Stitcher. He is training for a marathon, so he has a whole Google spreadsheet where he has his miles that he runs logged on the spreadsheet, and you can do it however you want. He suggested 10 stitches per mile that he runs, which is what I'm doing. Some people, like I know Stuart and Stitches is doing this as well. He's doing 100 stitches per day that he trains. He was originally training for the Sydney Marathon. He is now training for the New York Marathon. I know Jessie Marie was multiplying the miles by 26.2 and doing that on her piece. I don't know if she's still, for the Sydney Marathon, I don't know if she's still doing that for the New York Marathon. I don't remember. But anyway, I'm doing 10 stitches per mile that he runs on Catching Rays. This is my biggest whip. It's artwork is by Abraham Hunter. It is charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. It's 1200 by 900 and it has 134 colors. But 1200 by 900 makes this 1,080,000 stitches. I had thanks to my second largest whip and how I'm working that, I had a thing where I wanted to work. I was working in the upper left hand corner and I was like, I want to work all the way down the edge. So that's what I did last week. This week I stayed in the bottom. I'll show you the whole thing in a minute. I'm doing this 1/1 full cross on a 32 count easy count Lugana. To get caught, actually I think I was caught up and I just had to do the week stitching. Yeah, so I'm all caught up. I'm not like, oh, I need to do like yesterday's to make up. No, I'm good. So this week I did 330 stitches and it was all in the bottom corner. So there's that. I am now sitting at 35,802 stitches completed out of 1,080,000. I am at 3.32% complete. If you've never seen this before, I know that doesn't look like it. That's because that's the bottom corner. I've been I worked my way down the edge like that, right? So this is coming up towards the top. See, now you're seeing all the stuff I've done. Here we go. I don't even think I can I fit the whole length? Oh, I don't think I can. I can't fit the whole length in. Oh, brother. But yeah. So I'm at 3.32% complete. Oh. Hashtag team bedspread. I got 2 of these. Well, 3 if you count Honeymoon Sunset, because that fabric is big because it's 28 count. Okay, so that is my Whip into Shape. His marathon is in November, I think. So you're going to continue to see this for Whip into Shape for the next like month at least. Okay, next up is my portals piece. This is 6 portals. One of the newest releases from Pain Free Crafts. Artwork is by Rose Kahn. This is my second biggest piece. It is 1206, so slightly wider, but 100 stitches shorter. 1206 by 800. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. It's got like over 200 colors. I don't remember how many there are though. So what I'm doing, I love what I'm doing with this. So what I did is I worked scattered stitches across the entire width of the piece. That way, my plan is next year, I'll talk about it when I do my final plans, but I'm going to work a total of 2 months in each portal. But I think I had talked about this and someone had said, yeah, you should do it. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to do January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So, but it'll be a total of 2 months on each portal. That way I'm not just solely working in one portal while I want to come over here and work on this one. So now, I worked my way across the top. And now what I'm doing is every week I was like, oh, well, I'll just go ahead and work 1 week in each portal for right now until next year. Because I didn't realize it was only going to take me like a day of stitching to work my way across the entire top. And so I was like, oh, well, I'll just work 1 week in each portal. So the first week I did it, I was only able to do 300 on it. So I was like, well, I'll just keep that the same amount. So I'm doing 300 every week on a different portal. And the portal that I worked on this week was portal number 5. So that was this light purple one. That one there. But I'm up here. So I got 300 stitches on this. I'll show you the whole thing in a minute. I am now sitting at 2,304 stitches completed out of 964,800. I am at 0.24%. So here's all my portals I've done. All right, so here's portal 1, 2, 3, 4. I just showed you 5, 6. Obviously, I haven't gotten to portal 6 yet. That's all of them. Oh, I'm gonna be so excited when this gets more work. Oh, it's gonna look so good. All right. One whip left. All right, and the final whip is Honeymoon Sunset. This is charted. This is my focus for the year. My goal is to get it to 50% by the end of the year. Technically, okay, so I'm still on track to do that. Okay, Honeymoon Sunset. This is charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. Artwork is by Abraham Hunter. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. It is $8.69 by $6.49. It has 133 colors. Okay, I am currently in this area right down here. And my goal for this month is to get it to 47%. For this video, I have not gotten it to 47%, but I will by the end of the month. I was hoping to do it by the end of the, for the video, but I was not able to do that. Right, let me show you where I worked. I'm doing it with the Call for DMC 2-strand, 2/1 half cross on a 25 count easy count Lugana. This week I did 1,531 stitches. So I was doing this in 2 diagonals, but I decided I wanted to start going back to cross country. So I'm down here and I am slowly filling this area in. There's a lot of confetti here. And this right here is the start of one of the Adirondack chairs. So that's exciting. I'm going to show you this half. How about that? While I tell you my numbers. And then I'll show you the whole thing, since we're at the end of the month filming wise. Okay, I can't even fit the whole half in there. Well, look at this part. How about that? Okay, there we go. Okay, I am now sitting at 264,369 stitches completed out of 563,981. I am at 46.88%. One second. Oh my God, even standing up, I can't. There we go. There's the whole thing. So yeah, I want to get this to 50% by the end of the year. And like I said, I'm still on track to do that. I can still do that. I'll do the math before, like when I go to talk about my plans, I'll do the math and let you know how many stitches I need to do to get to that 50%. Or not the 50%, the 47%. That's what I was saying. Scattered all over the place. Okay. So that's all my whips. Let's get these boards updated. So for the rest of the video, what do we got for the rest of the video? We got to update the boards. We got to play a round of Monopoly, and then we got to come back and talk about plans for the week. Okay. Oh no, I forgot my marker. Hang on one second. There we go. All right. So for the temperature whips, for temperature, like I said, I was only able to get to 2 whips. Magnificent Wizard, I had 1100. I did another 200, so this is going up to 1300. My goal for my temperature whips is 2000 stitches. So 900, my goal is dropping from 900 down to 700. And then the other one I was able to work on was Frederick. I had 700. I did another 300, so that brings this up to 1000. And my goal is dropping from 1300 down to 1000. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we got to do some voting as well. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's get these boards updated. Okay, this is my active whip board. So basically, this was the result of switching up my plans 500,000 times, but still trying to get my original goals done. So my bake-off stitching whips came off of this board. And my Honeymoon Sunset and my Whip into Shape challenge is on here. I am not tracking my gridiron grind, my alphabet stitching, or portals on here because these were all last minute projects I decided to like throw in the mix. But we are tracking bake-off stitching on here. So Mother Nature Spring, I had 800, I did another 100. So this is going up to 900. And my goal is dropping from 1200 down to 1100. Sweet Bee, I did 300 stitches on this one. So I went from 800 to 1100. And my goal is dropping from 1200 down to 900. Right? Yeah. And then the other one I worked on for Bake Off was Holiday Quaker. I did 400 stitches on this, so I went from 1100 stitches up to 1500. And my goal is dropping from 900 down to 500. And Winter Cookie Party, I had 2,653 stitches. I didn't add this up. I didn't add that up. I did 656 stitches. Hang on. 9, 0, carry the 1, 3. Okay. I did 656. I just added it up down here. So I went from 2,653 stitches up to 3,309. And my goal is dropping from 654 down to -2, and the goal is now done. So this is going to come off of the board, and I can erase my math down here. Hang on. Okay. Anything else besides these two? Nope. Okay. So let's do my marathon training real quick. I had 6,002 stitches. I have a question mark for the goal because we're just, actually I could just take that off. We're just tracking how many stitches I'm doing. So I had 6,002 stitches completed. I'm adding another 330, so we are now up to 6,332 stitches on Catching Rays since Andrew started his marathon training. Honeymoon Sunset, my goal is to get it, again, 50% by the end of the year. So these numbers are based off of the math I did at the end of my whip parade last year. Obviously not since the beginning of time. So I had 50,927 stitches. I'm adding another 1,531. So my total stitches is increasing to 52,458. And my goal is dropping from 19,153 down to 17,622. And my percent complete is increasing from 46.60% to 46.88%. Like I said, I will have this at 47% by the end of the month. So there is that board. And then the final board is my Monopoly board. Okay, what did I work on this week? I worked on Halloween calendar. I did 200 stitches, so my stitches are increasing from 1,200 to 1,400. And my goal is dropping from 2,800 down to 2,600. What else did I work on? Mother Nature Christmas. I had 1,900 stitches. I did another 300. So this is increasing to 2,200. And my goal is dropping from 2,100 down to 1,800. And then the last whip I worked on was Reaching Skyward. I had 700. I did another 400, so this is increasing to 1,100. Stupid me at the beginning of the year said to do 4,000 stitches on my Monopoly whips, so these are probably going to be out the rest of the year. And my goal is dropping from 3,300 down to 2,900. I think even if I said screw it and just took 1,000 stitches off of everything, I probably still would be working on these the rest of the year. So I'm not even going to worry about it. More stitches on these whips anyway, right? Right. Okay. Okay, so we'll go over this in plans in a little bit more detail, but if I want to select a whip to replace in her garden when the time comes. I think that's gonna be the first one. Well, we'll vote for one whip to be the replacement for the first thing that pops up. How about that? Because when I did the math before I started filming, if I can get all of the stitches done for in her garden, that's gonna bring her thing down to 300 stitches remaining, which again, I'll go over that in the plans. So give me 1 second. I just need to pull up the wheel that has all of my whips of shame on it. Okay, so here's my wheel for whip of shame. We're going to select 2 whips to vote on, for you guys to vote on between to be the first replacement piece for temperatures. So if this lands on a current whip of shame or the whip of shame that's in Monopoly, then we're gonna spin again. So we're gonna do this twice, and I'll show you which whips they are when we do plans. Walking to Town. Goodnight Bears. Walking and Goodnight. I think those were whips that you guys had to vote on before. That's why I'm like, why does that sound so familiar? Because, well, one, I've worked on both of them since I started doing Whip of Shame, but also I think they were both contenders to be voted on when you guys were voting for the temperature pieces to begin with. So, again, I will go over that more in plans, or when yeah, okay. Let's go play around a Monopoly, and then I'll try to come back and clear up any confusion there is. Okay, be right back. Okay, welcome back to Monopoly. We are going to be starting round number 24. So, quick recap of where everybody is right now. We have the cat up here in New York Avenue. We're gonna go ahead and do these pieces. This is not in the order that they play in. This is just because they're all up here. The cat is up here in New York Avenue. The duck is on free parking. The penguin is over here on Waterworks, and the dog is over here on Community Chest. Okay, got my dice from that Andrew the Runner Stitcher made me. I'm gonna put them in the cup. Okay, let's go ahead and see. We're gonna start with the cat up here. So let's move this board. Okay. Doubles. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Indiana. Indiana is owned, by the cat. So when my pieces own those properties, they just do 100 stitches on them. Okay, and then we're gonna roll again since he got doubles. And we got 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops, sorry. 6. Shit. Indiana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. North Carolina is owned by the cat again. So we're just going to do 100 stitches on that one. Okay, now we're going to come down to the dog. So we're going to come back down here to side 1. Doubles. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are just visiting jail. The dog is not in jail. He is just visiting his homies in jail. All of his little friends that he made while he was in jail at the beginning of the game. So just visiting is going to be, how many stitches? I changed the whips around. Just visiting is 200 stitches, and I changed the whips around for my stuff, so it's going to be okay, so it's going to be the same piece I use for, I forgot for a split second. It's going to be the same piece I use for go and free parking. So we got doubles, so let's go ahead and roll again for the dog. Oh God, doubles again. Whoo! Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. St. James Place. St. James is owned by the Penguin. So the Penguin owns all my whips, or all the rents start off at 200 stitches. Once that token owns, St. James is up here in the corner. Once the token owns 6 properties, their rent increases by 100 for across the board. And if they own more than 1 property in the same color family, it's an additional 100. So the Penguin owns a bunch of properties, more than 6, and he owns 2 of the orange properties, so his rent is 400 stitches. Okay, not gonna lie, y'all, I'm kind of nervous with the history of this dog landing in jail, and we're on doubles. For roll number 3, we get no doubles. We get 8. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Illinois Avenue is owned by the Penguin. Okay. So it's not 400 because the Penguin only owns 1 red property, but it's 300. So let me see. Illinois. So we're going to do rent for 300. It's gonna be a lot of stitches for that whip. So right now I have one whip per like section. So all of the red properties has one whip assigned to it. Okay, now we're gonna do the duck, which is up here on free parking right now. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B&O Railroad is owned by the Penguin. I told you the Penguin owns a lot of properties. B&O Railroad. So we're going to be paying rent for 300, and just that roll for the duck. The Penguin is over here on Waterworks. Let's do this. 5. Let's re-roll. That was weird. There we go. Okay. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chance. What do we get? Oh no, you lost your stitchy bug. Go to jail. Oh no. Oh no. All right, go to jail and do 200 stitches on the jail piece. So we are going to go over here to jail. All right, hang on. All right, so now we got a piece in jail. Wah, wah, wah. All right. So that's it for Monopoly. I'm going to go pull those whips, pull all the other whips that we need to work on, and we'll be back. Okay, so before we get into the plans, I wanted to go ahead and knock off. So apparently I had Villa Lorna on here twice. Somebody had pointed out to me, which I had. Oh, yeah, I sure do. Okay. So I had Villa Lorna on here twice. This is my big board, if you don't know, where I get attacked. But I had like all of my whips that I was like kind of like in my rotation, and then I've just been changing my plans to where this is kind of a moot point, but everyone loves this board, so we're gonna keep going with it for right now. But I need to take off. I have Villa Lorna here, and then I also have Villa Lorna over here. So we're gonna go ahead and take this one off right here. I didn't realize that I had it on there twice, and a couple people pointed that out, so we're gonna take that off. But one thing that I did, I got the gold done on, I feel like Cookie Time, I got the gold done, but I honestly don't remember. But what was it? What was it that I got the gold done? I said, oh, this is coming off. The fuck, I just said it. Winter Cookie Party. Where is it? Hang on. Do I not have it on here? Here it is. Okay. Oh, there we go. Right here, Winter Cookie Party. I got the gold done. So we are going to, oh my God. This is a big, like I'm just standing here for a second because I feel the board is falling forward and I'm trying to balance it in one hand and my head. Okay, Winter Cookie Party. There we go. That's one more. Okay. One more gold done. Okay. There's not gonna lie, there are a few pieces on here that I feel like their goal got completed. Maybe just one. That their goal got completed and I honestly just forgot to mark them off. But it's fine, it's whatever. All right. So, we'll just put that over there. Okay. So, what we're going to talk about before we talk talk about plans is we're going to do the voting for the replacement whip for temperature stitching. So the reason why we're voting right now is because when I talk about my numbers later, if I can get my stitching done on temperature stitching that I want to get done in her garden, we'll only have 300 stitches left to complete the 2,000 stitch goal. So I'm guessing that is going to be the first one that gets replaced. So we're going to vote for one replacement, and then probably next week we'll vote for a second one to be the next replacement for whatever ends up getting their goal done. So we're gonna vote. You'll have 1 week. I'll announce the winner next week. First up is going to be Goodnight Bears. This is a piece from Designs for the Needle. Artwork is by Fiona Jude. That is what it's gonna look like when it's done. And this is my starting point with it. And then that is going to go up against Walking to Town. This is a old Dimensions kit designed by Fred Swan. And that is what it's gonna look like when it's done. And this is my starting point with it. Where'd my board go? Here it is. It's underneath everything. Let's try this again. This is my starting point with it. So, I want you guys to vote for the first replacement piece for temperature stitching. Let me put this back, and we are going to vote between Goodnight Bears versus Walking to Town. You can say town, you can say house for this piece. Town, house, winter, I don't care. This, bears, whatever. Call whatever you want. They're pretty different to where I think I'll be able to figure out what piece you're talking about when you vote. So you have 1 week to vote on a replacement for the temperature stitching. And then I will announce the winner next week. And then we will also probably end up picking 2 more whips to vote between for the next replacement piece, because I think I'm holding out hope that I'll be able to get all my stitching done and that I will be at a point where we can get another piece lined up and ready to go. So it's going to be, even though we're voting this week, it's still going to be a few weeks before we see that winner come into play, because I got to wait for a goal to be done. But yeah, so Walking to Town versus Goodnight Bears. I'll go ahead and put them, I don't know why I'm telling you this. I'm going to put them aside to get them ready to show the winner next week. I don't know why I was saying that. Okay, anyway, let's go over my plans for next week. This coming week, whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of go top down. So the alphabet stitching, I completed the letter J, which was James Dean. I decided to go with, for the letter K, a kaleidoscope. And this is from Yasmin's Made with Love. So I'm going to do 500 stitches on this, and I'm using the called for DMC, and I'm just doing it, I'll go over the fabric later, but it's obviously just a plain white Aida. But that is my starting point with it. So this will get 500 stitches. Is that going to have to be split up into 2 weeks? I don't know. But that'll get 500 stitches. Okay. We're going to pretend like I can get all of this done, except for Monopoly. Monopoly will go over 2 weeks. Okay. my open goal piece, like how I finished a winter cookie party. I picked another piece that has an open goal that I'll just keep out until I get the goal done. We're gonna go ahead and try to finish up Holiday Quaker. So it got eliminated from Bake Off stitching, but that left it with 500 stitches to get the goal done. My goal was only 2,000 because this originally was a temperature whip. But yeah, so we just need 500 stitches to get this goal done. So we are going to go ahead and keep this out and try to get the goal done. Just a reminder of my starting point. Okay. All right, and then, oh, I said I was gonna math and I didn't math. Oh no. Oh no. I think it's like 500, maybe 600 stitches, I think. Six or 700 stitches to get to Honeymoon Sunset. I think it's about 600 or 700 stitches to get to the 47%, which I will be able to do today. And then I'm going to keep working on it because my goal for October is to get it to 48%. So this is going to stay out. Okay, and then portals. Give me one sec. Okay. For portals, I will be working in portal 6 this week. So this portal here, it's gonna be so cool when it gets like more work on it, but I'll be working in this portal up here, just 300 stitches. And then just a reminder of the starting point for that portal. I have not gotten to work on this one except for that initial working across the top. So that's my starting point for portal 6. And like I said, it'll just get 300 stitches. Easy peasy. All right. Catching rays. We'll continue to work on for whip into shape. This piece here. I just don't know if I'm going to keep working from the bottom or if maybe I should try to come back up here and work in some of these parked threads because I have a lot of parked threads here. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe this week we'll come back up here and we'll work these parked threads in. Maybe we'll do that. I'm not sure yet. It'll be a surprise. It'll be a surprise. All right. But this will be out for the marathon training. However many, I don't have a stitch count for that. I don't know how many stitches I'll end up doing for marathon training. My goal is to stay caught up with it. Okay, what's next? Gridiron grind. Okay, so gridiron grind, hang on. Today, the Bucks are playing the Eagles. So whatever points the Eagles get will go on afternoon tea. And then whatever points, I'm just showing that part because I showed it in the whips earlier. Whatever points the Bucks get plus the 390 stitches for last week's game. It's going to go on Bathy Scaife. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is by Jacek Jurka. This is my 15-year-old's piece that he picked out. And this is my starting point with it. And I currently am sitting at 1,030 stitches completed out of 202,950. I am at 0.51%. So this is going to get 390 for last week plus whatever they score today. However many stitches that ends up being. Hopefully I'll be able to get it all done. Hopefully I don't fall too far behind with anything. Okay, next up, let's do temperature stitching. Okay, so all my temperatures are in Fahrenheit because I'm in the US. Starting with today, the 28th, through Saturday, October the 4th. The projected highs for the week are 93, 89, 89, 88, 87, 83, and 84. So, Bless This Nest is not going to be getting any stitches this week because that is assigned to 0 and 5. Magnificent Wizard is assigned to 1 and 6. So for the week, it's not going to get any stitches. However, it is supposed to, it does still have 100 stitches that I have to make up for. This piece here. So I'm going to try to get that 100 stitches done. It's low on the priority list, so if I don't get it done, I'm not going to worry about it, and we're just going to call it a day with that, because that 100 stitches was from 2 weeks ago. So if I don't get it done this week, we're just going to be like, forget it. Aurora Cabin, its temperatures got called one time this week. And so this one is not it. This one from Dimensions Gold Collection. This piece right here, artwork by Kim Norleen. This one will get 100 stitches for the temperatures for the upcoming week. I also owe it 100 stitches from this past week. So that would be 200 stitches for this. And it'll be up here. But this is where I'm at with it. And then Frederick. His temperatures got called 3 times. His temperatures got called 3 times, so he will get 300 stitches. I think that he might be the second piece to get replaced. The one I'm going to show you next is, I think, going to be the first one. I think this will be the second one to be replaced. Because if I can get all 300 stitches done, his goal is going to drop down to 700. Wizard and Frederick are kind of going to be neck and neck next week, because Wizard will be, if I can get the 100 stitches, that'll be at 600 remaining, and Frederick will be at 700 remaining. And then the last temperature whip in her garden, her stitches, she's a Dimensions Gold Collection designed by Sandra Cook. Her temperatures came up 3 times as well, so she will get 300. And if I can get her makeup, the ones that were supposed to happen, if I can get those done, it's going to be a total of 500 stitches for her, which will drop her goal down to 300 stitches. That's why I'd really like to get her stuff done, because she is almost due to be switched out. I'll be working up here. So if I can get the 500 done, you're actually going to see a really good amount of progress, because up here is almost all half crosses. And it takes 2 to make one, to count as 1 stitch. So really, if it all ends up being half crosses, it's going to be 1,000 stitches you're going to see on this. 1,000 half crosses. If I can get all 500 full cross counts done, if that makes sense. So that'll be a good chunk of progress you're going to see on that. So I'm excited. Okay. Bake Off. Again, I'm not going to tell you who got what. We're just going to go over the whips. We are going into week 4. Mild spoilers for a couple things, but not who it is, just what happens. No handshakes this week. He has been super finicky with the handshakes. Only 1 person got a handshake so far this entire season. Okay, so no handshakes this week. The person who got last in technical, their whip is Christmas Cupcake. This is charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. It is from Anders Eisman, and it's 300. Oh, I'm not giving you all the details. Never mind. This will be when I talk about it next week. But this is Christmas Cupcake by Cross Stitch Studio. And it's not full coverage. I'm not doing that background. This will get 100 stitches. I had to see which way was up. Hang on. This is my starting point. I'll go over how I'm stitching this when I show it next week, because I know it looks really weird. But this is my starting point with it. I'm starting off at 2,328 stitches completed out of 67,748. I am at 3.44%. All right. Okay. So that'll get 100. And then, oh my God, the person who got first in so that was last in technical. The person who got first in technical is also the person who got Star Baker. So their piece is going to get 300 stitches. And that is Sweet Bee Again by Stitchrovia. So I will most likely continue to work in this block right here so I can get that finished. And this will get 300. And then the person who got eliminated, their whip will get 400 for being eliminated. And that whip is going to be Sugar Skull. Small kit from Artiste. And this is my starting point with it. So this will get 400 stitches. And then it'll be done because they got eliminated. I think I'm going to include Bake Off in my stitching next year. And I think I've got how I want to work it out. And I'm going to work it out in a way that you guys can play, since we're not going to do just a quick interruption to talk about the plans, which I'll again go over in my plans video, but I'm going to mention it here. So we're not doing Monopoly next year. I'm going to stop Monopoly at the end of the year. Which I know some of you are disappointed because you've been playing along at home, but I think I've got it worked out in a way where you can play Bake Off along at home. Like I'll let you know what needs to be done, and you just do the stitches. So we'll go over that in the plans video, but I'm going to do Bake Off all year next year with older seasons. So yeah, I'm excited. Okay, so that was all of the Bake Off stitching. For Monopoly, again, this is going to go over 2 weeks. Let me get to the Monopoly section here. All right. The cat rolled doubles and landed on Indiana Avenue for my red properties. Indiana Avenue. Where the hell did it go? Here it is. Sorry. Okay. My red properties. The whip is Winter Sampler. This is by Kohler Design Studio. Charted by, or artwork is by Sandy Orton. Am I still marking off stitches? I feel like I am. But this is my starting point with it. So this is actually going to get a bit of work on it. So we gotta skip around a little bit here regarding, hang on. Here we go. I gotta skip around for a minute here because the cat rolled doubles landed on Indiana and it owns that property. So this is gonna get 100 stitches for the cat. And then I gotta jump down to the dog for a minute because it's gotta pay rent for 300. So this is going to get 400 total. So 400 stitches for the cat and the dog. And that was the first roll of doubles for the cat. So then the second roll, it landed on North Carolina, which is a green property. And the cat owns North Carolina as well. So my green whip is Halloween Letters by Primrose Cottage Stitches. This piece right here. And this one is going to get 100. That is my starting point with that. Okay, so that'll get 100. And then, so that was the cat. The dog rolled doubles and landed on jail, not in jail. So it's just visiting. So when they are just visiting jail, that is the same whip I do for Go and Free Parking, which right now is Dreaming of Autumn Leaves by Rosewood Manor. There is a section on this that is royally screwed up and I have to frog it. So I'm avoiding that section right now. I decided I'm going to keep working on it, but I'm avoiding that section. So this is my starting point. This is the part I'm avoiding because this, yeah, we'll go over that later, but this all has to be ripped out. So I'm avoiding this side altogether. We're going to keep working. We're going to keep working over here. We're going to pretend like the other side doesn't exist. And we're going to work on this side over here. This is going to get, what'd I say? What'd I say in the game? 200? Just visiting. Yep. So this will get 200. So that was the second, that was the first time that he rolled doubles. Second roll, he landed on St. James Place. St. James Place is an orange property and it is owned by the Penguin, who owns a few of those orange pieces and a lot of other pieces. So the Penguin's rent for St. James is 400. And that piece is Coffee Break by Design Works. Artwork is by Krista Hamrick. So this, what did I say, 400? Yeah. So this will get 400. And let me just show the whole thing. I will keep working in the iced coffee block right down here for another 400. That's exciting. I really like this piece a lot, so I'm excited for that. Okay. Then for the third roll, he landed on Illinois, but I already showed you that was Winter Sampler. He's got to pay 300 stitches of rent for that. So then we move on to the duck, who landed on B&O Railroad, and that is owned by the Penguin, but it only owns one railroad. So its rent is 300. And the whip for the railroads is Mother Nature Christmas. So this is going to get another 300 stitches. So that's exciting. My starting point for her. All right. And then that was the only roll for the duck. The Penguin only had one roll too. He landed on Chance and got sent to jail. So I haven't worked on my gel piece in a hot minute, so it's fine. You're going to be seeing this for the next few weeks though. Few weeks, because this is going to go over 2 weeks. Okay. My gel, when you're in jail, my whip is Rocky Point. This is one of my whips of shame. That's why I had mentioned before when we were spending for votes, if it lands on my Monopoly whip of shame, this is what I was talking about. So this is Rocky Point. This is going to get 200 stitches. And this is my starting point. So that'll be 200. That's okay. So, and I think that's it for the whips. Yeah. So like I said, Monopoly is going to go over 2 weeks. Yeah, that's all of it. I'm hoping to get that temperature stitching done. I got to see what ends up happening with the football game today for Gridiron Grind. I will get Honeymoon Sunset to the 47% by the end of the month, and then I will continue working on it to get it moving on towards 48%. I think that's everything. Yeah, that should be it. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below. If you like what you had to see and you're not already subscribed, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the bell to be notified whenever I post a new video. That's about it. So take care, stay safe, happy stitching, get a lot of stitches in, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.